This is Denise Mathew, and today I'm going to do a pronged ring without a torch. Now I've done something like this already before, but I have come across a new technique to stabilize a stone on the base ring. So I thought I would show this because some people were having trouble with the stone being wiggly. So this should in fact correct that problem. I'm working with 18 gauge wire. You can go down to a 16 or you can go up to at the most a 20, but it really, you can base it upon how big your bead is, because the bigger the bead, the bigger, the heavier gauge you want to use, and vice versa. For a lighter bead, you want to use a lighter, for a lighter stone you want to use a lighter gauge. If I wanted to make a size 7 ring, so just wrap it around the size 6, okay? So this is what you would have, okay? And once that's done, you can slide it off your ring mandrel. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is just take your same gauge of wire, but an 18, and you're going to gauge it against your stone. So for this stone, I would probably, because I want the prongs to go up and around it, so I'm going to cut about a little bit more than that. So cut about, so that for me is about 3 inches. And again, you can change that according to what you want. That's done. You're just going to go with each one, take your chain nose pliers, and you're just going to do right in the center, you're just going to do a really nice tight circle. All of them, okay? And if the loop is too big, what you want to do is you want to make it smaller. So what I like to do is I just want the loop big enough so that it can slide onto my other 18 gauge wire, and I'll show you how that works. But so just pull it a little bit tighter like that, and that will make your circle a little bit smaller, okay? All right, so I'm going to do that with all of them. So the next thing you're going to do is you're going to go back to your original ring that you started, and you're just going to slide each one of these right on the wire, and you're going to pull it right to the center, okay? So this is where you want it, okay? Slide the next one on, okay? And so then you would have the 2, and then the next one, and then the last one. Okay, now we have all of them on. Now that these are on, you're going to just want to take your pliers and you're going to try and make those circles a little bit smaller. So you're going to just try and get in there and make those circles a bit smaller. So if you notice, I'm just going to squeeze the circle that is around the base of the wire. So right in there, and you're going to get right in those circles. So I don't know if you can see that, but like that, and just squish. So you want to get that as tight around that wire as possible. So you're just going to push in there like that, and then push them all in, because the less they move on the wire, the less they move on the base ring, the better for you. Okay, and keep working on that, because that's kind of an important step. You want to make sure that they're nice and tight. The tighter, the better. So this is what you're going to have right now. So now that that's done, you're going to slide it back on your ring mandrel, and try and keep it sort of the size that you were working with. So just push those wires up out of your way, okay? And then just take your wire that you already have, and you wrap it under those wires. This is the most tedious part, but I think in the long run it's really going to make a much more stable ring. Wrap the other side with the other opposite wire, okay? So now that you have them wrapped on both sides, remove it from your ring mandrel, and then just take those last bits of wire and then just wrap them around the base, and that's going to draw all your wires together. Okay, so now that that's wrapped around, you've secured it on the sides of your ring, okay? And so you would have your ring, and we can size it up later on, so no worries about that. If it's not round, if it's coming into place, that's perfectly fine. But pretty much once that's done, these are pretty close to being stable. So now you're just going to start to spread out those wires. And this is very similar to the other method that we did before. We're just going to spread out those wires. Okay. I'm working with about 2 feet of 24 gauge wire, and I can start on any one of these strings I want. I'm just going to start on this one right here. It doesn't really make a difference, and I'm just going to start doing a little bit of a, just basically a couple coils around one of these prongs. Okay, it's just starting you off. So now that you have that one wire attached, hold it in place. You're going to wrap around each prong, so you're going to go 1 and then go around and then 2, and then just you're going to each one and you're going underneath and around. Okay, and then you notice if the wire can sort of slides out a bit, push it in close because you want to keep this tight. I mean, you're really kind of making like a spider's web. Okay, so just make sure everything is tight, and then just the next one. Okay, and then you're going to continue to work until you get sort of a base that is going to support your stone. Okay, so just keep going around, and I'm going to go a little bit faster, but this is what we're doing. So continue on. You don't want a base too big, because if it's too big, it will sort of come out below your stone and you'll be able to see it, and you don't really want to see it. It's sort of something that you want to be hidden. Now you're going to have a look at, bring your stone over, and you're going to decide, you know, I'm going to put the stone the lengthways. So if you look at the ring, I'm going to make the stone go this way. So that's something to keep in mind when you're wrapping. Decide which way you want the stone to go. Do you want it to go this way, or do you want to go this way? When you decide which way you want to go, you're going to make sure that it's not too wide. So for instance, if I had decided that I wanted the ring to go this way, I would have already wrapped it too wide, okay? Because you can see it below. But since it's going this way, it's just right, okay? So at this point, I think I have enough. So I'm just going to wrap a few times around this one prong, and then just trim back, and then tuck anything in that you want. Then you just lay your stone on top, and if you can find a flat side, that's the side you want to go down. Okay, and then this is where you're going to start to pull your prongs up. Okay, you can start to pull them up, and if you notice they're way too long, well, that's okay, because that's when we start to do our trimming. And the most important thing is, when you're trimming, is that you don't trim too low down, because if you trim too low down, it's not going to support your stone. So when you're trimming, you want to keep that in mind, and also to keep, you know, you're pushing these prongs against, and so trying to find the natural curves or angles of the stone. If you're not really pushing in against your stone, you're not really going to get it to stay in a stable position, okay? So just continue to do that. Now, if you're using a round stone or something, you're going to find that that's going to work a lot easier. Any irregular shaped stones are by nature going to be a little bit more difficult to get them to fit properly. Now that that's done, I'm just going to start to slowly, now you can do this in increments. I mean, I wouldn't go right down as low as possible. You want to take your time with this, and you can adjust and pull off more as you need to, but it's better to get less off in the beginning than it is to have too much and then be sort of disappointed because you can't really put another prong back on at this point. Okay, so I'm just trimming. All right, and so I'm getting a little closer to where I want to be. Okay, and I just keep adjusting. And then all these bits are sharp. So what you can do is you can take a jewelry file or a nail file, and you can file them down. Now, an alternate option if you find that the stone is not being held properly, you can take it out, take a hammer and just hammer the ends. You're just flattening that out a little bit. That I've hammered these ends, if you notice, they're a little bit flatter, and the intention is that they're going to lay against the stone a little bit better. Okay, so I'm going to put the stone back in. Okay, and then and make sure you remember how it went in, because I'm kind of forgetting now, but that's all right. So push everything in a little bit more, and again, still file it down if you feel that there's anything that's really super sharp or anything, because they can be fairly sharp when you're trimming them. And again, this is an organic look. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be something that you see in a jewelry store that, you know, with the settings exactly perfect every way. But it is, the whole point is that it's an organic look. So you're just going to take your time and then start to adjust those prongs so that pull them up around that stone if you want. And then just bend the ends like that. So just bend the end a little bit, so it's really kind of securing that stone in place. Adjust it according to the way you want it. Okay, so you can see, I mean, I'm really shaking it, I'm pushing a lot. The stone is not going to fall out. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is I'm just going to slide that ring back on the ring mandrel. And if I start it with a size 6, I want to size it up to a size 7. So I'm just going to gently tap. Slowly sliding it down to the size 7. Okay? And that's where it is right now. I'm at size 7. Okay, and then just slide it off. That will wire harden your ring and put it in shape. And again, that stone is quite large. I mean, you know, if you're wearing it, it's going to be a fairly good size ring, but I wanted to make something a good size so that you guys could see. And this concludes the tutorial. I hope you liked it. If you did, please like, share, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for coming. Bye for now.